What I think he needs to do, though, Liam, is it's for me, with the personnel available, we don't know exactly who's going to be fit in a couple of weeks' time. I think he needs to tweak the midfield. So I think instead of going a 2 and a 1 with a number 10, a Wes type, because we haven't got him, is you go to one sitter and 2 box-to-box types that you're going to have to get more out of.
Yeah.
So Harry Arthur, we're going to touch on a little bit later in the show, has that ability if he's told how to play it, what to do. And Jeff Hendrick, how do we get him back to playing the way he played
at the Euros? Yeah.
So they're the conundrums that he has. That's the way I would base our midfield, with legs, energy, a willingness to get forward.
And would you see at the base of that midfield Declan Rice?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that
that's exactly where I was going to bring you next.
Yeah, it was one of the things. It follows logically from what we've been talking about. Again, quoting Martin O'Neill from my own interview. I mean, I asked him straight up, because it has been, I don't know that he had absolutely come down on one side or the other in terms of where he might deploy Declan Rice, whether it would be at the back or at the
still up in the air, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to say, in the interview I did with him, he came down pretty strongly on the midfield option. But
for the here and the now?
Yes, because he was saying, look, Glenn Whelan isn't getting any younger. I'm kind of paraphrasing what he said.
Injured,
McCarthy's out, Robbie Brady's still only on his way back. But to be fair, he was also impressed with Rice. I think a lot of people were in the spring and summer friendlies. What was interesting, of course, and the reason I specifically brought it up last week, because it was coming off the back of the first day of the Premier League season, and Rice had this pretty chastening experience for a fellow who's still only 19. So people would be, I'm sure, aware, but just for anyone who isn't, Pellegrini, new manager at West Ham, very experienced, decides, I'm going to put this boy into midfield at Anfield against Liverpool. Now, I wrote a piece saying, the whole West Ham team in that game went like lambs to the slaughter. But Declan Rice was the sacrificial lamb. He was the one.
You took the words out of my mouth. We were on here last week talking about it. Yeah. And I felt he took the easy way out, Pellegrini, because he was not helped from senior players around him. Jack Wilshere, Mark Noble. Yeah. Martin, as I think has spoken a little bit. Great learning curve for him. It's as difficult as it's going to get. Them in Man City going to those type of places. So for his development, brilliant. For West Ham, they need to develop him in years to come. Yeah. Unfortunately for us, we need it now. Yeah. And I still think he'll be a key cog in our wheel. Yeah, and I mean, like, I think it would be interesting to see. He was a guy now sort of garlanded with plaudits, certainly here, and to be fair, for his stuff last season as well.
So highly thought of, being hyped up to an extent, and I think that's also, like Martin O'Neill did say, let's not put too much pressure on this guy at this stage. But certainly he was probably the success story out of the games in Turkey and the US more than anyone else, or France. And I think it'll be interesting to see how does he respond to that, because it's a pretty high profile setback on the first day of the season in the Premier League at Liverpool.
And left out of the squad last weekend.
That's tough, and so it's a test of character for sure, and how he responds. But
I have to say, Liam, from everything I hear from a couple of people that work at West Ham that have worked with him, Irish underage teams, I don't think it'll be a problem.
No, it doesn't seem to be.
The type of individual that will take it, learn from it, work hard in the training ground, go back and go again. Yeah. And at times, I've found this before, and a lot of the Irish players have, when he comes over, because he will be in the squad, when he comes over and he's in this environment, it's a release, it's a break. And all right, you haven't played in 3-4 weeks for West Ham. Your last experience might have been taken off at half time at Anfield. Yeah. Come here, you're in.
Oh, listen, you can see that with other people in the current squad. You would have seen it in your time, and it's ever thus. I mean, we might be talking about him in a while, but James McLean, I think, is a real example of a player who has struggles at different times and for different reasons in his clubs. In Ireland, a favourite son.
Exactly.
And what a difference.
And it rebuilds the whole confidence around the player.
I mean, it almost, for some of the players, I don't know if you would agree or have sensed this yourself, I sometimes get the impression that for players who might be, for whatever reason, struggling at a club, there is a sense in which Ireland becomes the club for them, has everything that they want in a club, that sense of camaraderie. That
stark contrast to what we've seen from England down through the years. This summer, a little bit different, the way Gareth Southgate has built that kind of environment, but it was polar opposites. You're right, the Ireland dressing room, the get-togethers was just like, it's your comfort blanket in a way.
Yeah, and I think that was always a huge factor in Ireland's success. I'm not saying there weren't times when there was tension behind the scenes, and we know full well there were, But I think as a general rule, there is that sense that everybody, when they come in, or most players, seem to be kind of elevated by the whole experience. And as you say, if you're having a particularly difficult time in England or wherever club you're at, it becomes a release and a relief.